So really, guys, what I want to get out of this is that we're going to start buying smarter, and we're going to manage our risk when we buy smarter. Okay. We're going to look at all the data, not just a moment in time. The best sales rank is a great starting point, but we're going to start getting more sophisticated in our purchases so that we can almost forecast and predict the sale of every item. Now, one thing I talk about on all our coaching calls is we buy wide and shallow. And what I mean by that is we buy lots of different items, lots of different ASINs, we call it in Amazon, and we buy shallow. We only buy anywhere from 2 to 4, maybe 6 of one particular item. I hear people do this constantly. They're buying 10, 15, 20 of one item. Not the way I would go, because I've been burned too many times where somebody drops the price, or Amazon comes on the listing, or Amazon changes the rules and restricts the item or whatever. Now you got to take all that inventory and get it sent back to you, tying up your money in that transaction or wherever that inventory is at. So that's called narrow and deep. If you buy one item and you buy a bunch of different quantities of that item, you're buying pretty narrow and deep. So buy wide, buy shallow, and test this. So the reason why we buy 4 or 6 of one item is because we test it. We test each one of the items. I don't care if it's a sale item or a replenishable item. We're testing in low quantities because we want to see if it does actually meet my expectation of the sales velocity, of the profit amount, of the ROI amount, all those criteria I gave you. Will it sell over $20? So we're testing them. And then when we find that they're actually selling, and then we're selling at a good clip, a good velocity, then we're going to go a little deeper on the second purchase. And by the way, a lot of the sales and discounted items end up being replenishables even the next time we go to buy them. So we've added a lot of our replenishable items from the sale discounted items. So then we can go deeper. We can buy more quantity of that same item. So the next purchase, we might buy 6, we might buy 8, we might even buy 10 on the proven sales that we're getting from that item. That is where we start to build the more deeper purchases, okay? And when we started building the list of replenishables back in, I think it was just August, September area, that's where we started to really maximize our regular sales and as it started going up. So start building a list of the replenishable items that you have, items that you're purchasing over and over, and then maintain it by looking at your sales. We look at our sales every day to see what's actually moving out the door. And then we kind of add that to our replenishables list. And then my wife does a fantastic job of maintaining that whole thing with a system of buying products that are selling well. How many is she going to buy? She's doing her prediction of how many are going to sell this month. And we just have this regular rotation of products that are added to that replenishables list. And boy, I've said a mouthful. So I just love talking about this stuff, Brian. It's exciting to us. I think that, if you continue to do this and you do it with some mindset of, I will not fail, mindset, you're going to keep learning and you're going to keep doing better. So I think that's all I got.
Ed, how well does Be Cool, that's your repricer, how well does it help you with winning the buy box?
Oh, it's fantastic. In August, and Candida had been telling me get a repricer, and I kept putting it on hold. I kept adding ASINs, and I kept trying to reprice myself. And it was as soon as I turned on that repricer, I almost tripled my sales. So it definitely is like a necessity when you get to be around, I'd say about 100 ASINs, 100 items. You got to get a repricer because you just can't do it yourself. And it really feeds on Amazon's algorithms so that it keeps you in that buy box if you have the settings set correctly. So yeah, can't recommend it enough.
And yes, we have repricer training at the e-commerce business school. So, you got to come on in, got to join us. Joe is asking, do you calculate profitability on the current buy box price, or do you look at a price history for average or lowest price?
Yeah, good question. I look at an average buy box sale price because that could fluctuate. I didn't talk much about what I look at in the buy box, but you'll see the buy box go up and down, and I kind of gauge an average based on how many sellers there are and how much count there is in their inventory, and I look at that average sale price in the buy box. I don't want to just take a snippet in time and say, oh yeah, it's selling right now at this price when last week it sold at this price, okay? So I'm looking at 90 to 180 days or even longer history of a lot of things. The sales rank, the buy box, who's been on the listing, if Amazon's been on the listing. So yeah, all of that I'm looking at.
We're going to make this the last question. In fact, I'm going to combine two from Teresa and Tushar. They're talking about the IP checker. And one of the questions is if the claim is old, like from 2019, do you take that into account? And then is there any other indication of potential IP problems beyond that checker?
Well, yeah. I mean, I've gotten IP claims on a product that didn't have any, notification of having an IP claim. You never know when a brand owner is going to say, I've had enough of this selling on Amazon. That happens. So it's always a, calculated risk based on the tools that we have, and the tools are as good as they can be, right? So you gotta take that as a risk. And the other question was, if there's an IP claim from 2019, do I take that into consideration? If it's there and there's only one, I might still go on it based on how many sellers are on the same item. If there's a lot of sellers, I'm not too worried about it. If you only see one or two sellers, or you saw a dramatic fall in the seller count, then I'm going, yeah, no, that something happened at that certain point in time that everybody got IP claims and they had to remove their items from stock. So I'm going to look at just more than the old IP claim. I'm going to look at, again, the history and see what happened. Let's see if the seller count went up and then just tanked,
Great insight. I just learned something there. That's something I had not considered before. Great.
Yeah. Because it's almost like, how you see the seller count the sales rank go up and then you see it drop. Yep. That's a sale. Mm-hmm. It's very indicative, right? Or indicative. And the seller count, you'll see go, and then boom, it drops. And the seller count never just drops.
Right.
It kind of slowly trickles down as people sell out of their inventory. But if it just drops, something happened where IP claim got on everybody and we all had to remove our inventory.
It used to be said, if you're not online, you're not in business. That's from like 15 years ago. All right. Now it's that if you're not on Amazon, you're not in business.
Regardless of that big dream, you've got to build a foundation. You have to have a business that has cash flow.
You need more cash? Go out and source some more. Shove those products into Amazon. What's going to spit out the other end is profit. It's that simple, isn't it?
Then they start looking at it as, this really is a system. So how can I add more to my system? How can I start to scale this?
That's why this is so integral, each pillar leading up sequentially to that long-term reliable business.
These are the real assets then that somebody who wants to buy a business, this is what they look for.
This is the brand launcher, the career launcher, the income launcher. It's a beautiful thing. And I know you're going to love what this can do for you. You're going to get a vision. You're going to get a vision to grow your business, to sell it for a profit, kind of show your pals, your friends, your family.
Yes, you can make $1 million just selling on Amazon alone.